Part-2, Chapter-8. From the first time he'd read the Bhagavad Gita in 1972 when he was 17, Ayendra had been struck by Srila Prabhupada's statement that every living being had a particular direct relationship with the Lord, an eternal constitutional position, Swarup. He'd read that by the process of devotional service, one could revive that Swarup and achieve Swarup Siddhi, perfection of one's position. He'd noted that 5 different kinds of relationships were possible and had been especially attracted to the idea that one could attain a romantic, spiritual relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from the start, that had been his ultimate goal. In America, he'd had spurtis, glimpses of the spiritual world, in the form of dreams, but he had not gotten information specific to that goal. His devotional life had been focused on service to Srila Prabhupada and the deities through book distribution, deity worship, and Harinam Sankirtan. In Braja, the site of Krishna's most intimate pastimes, his desire to discover his spiritual identity intensified into a great longing, a lobha, transcendental hankering, to uncover his relationship with both Srila Prabhupada and Sri Sri Radha Shyamasundar. Ayendra's mood of wanting to leave behind all material concerns and surrender fully to unalloyed devotional service to their divine lordships seemed to recommend him for the sannyas ashram, which several of his godbrothers had entered. Quote, Sat Nyaya, sannyas. This is the combination, Srila Prabhupada had stated. Sat means the supreme, the ever-existing, and Nyaya means renunciation. That means one who has renounced everything for serving the supreme. He is real sannyas. He may take this dress or not, that doesn't matter. Anyone who has sacrificed his life for the service of the Supreme Lord, he's a sannyasi. A change of ashram might also help Ayendra better guide and protect the 24-hour kirtan brahmacharis under his care. In the spring of 1989, however, when Ayendra's name was submitted for sannyas by Jagadish Goswami, he was rejected by the GBC. Quote, they wouldn't even put my name on a 5-year waiting list, he told Ramabhadra. They think I'm too austere. In a letter explaining the decision, Jagadish had mentioned concern about Ayendra's, quote, tendency towards austerities like following Chaturmasya very strictly. Quote, and they think my philosophy is deviant, Ayendra said about one commissioner's objections to his unusual lectures, and that I don't preach, I just do bhajan. What do they mean I'm not preaching? Every day so many people are chanting and dancing. I think that's pretty good preaching, isn't it? Jagadish had said that he thought the main issue was that the GBC didn't know Ayendra well enough to understand where he was coming from. Some devotees thought him eccentric, not only in his austerities and talks, but also in his devotional studies, musical passion, reclusive habits, dress, and shifting schedule, even unaware of the irony of their speculation, suggesting that these were means of Ayendra drawing attention to himself. Quote, people think I'm eccentric, Ayendra later acknowledged, but I'm just very, very conservative, following instructions and examples that had been laid down by the 6 Goswamis and ISKCON's other predecessor acharyas. Quote, it may be wise for you to get to know them a little better and allow them to know you a little better, Jagadish had suggested. Generally, you are shy and introverted and not very prone to socializing, but taking association from senior devotees is not ordinary socializing and may be beneficial for you. He'd assured Aindra that even though the GBC might not agree on whether the 24-hour kirtan program was technically, quote, preaching, they'd seemed to recognize both its value and the importance of his leadership. Quote, I believe that everyone appreciates the contribution you have made, he'd written, and would like to see you continue. My suggestion is that we wait until next year when I will again be happy to recommend you. By then, the members will have had a chance to think about the proposal, and perhaps some of the reservations will have been worked out for them. Please don't be discouraged. I don't think you should take it personally. Given more time to get used to the idea, people will give up some of their hesitations. Quote, I wouldn't get bent out of shape, Ramabhadra said. You have a good thing going here. Just give it time and be patient. Prove to them that you can come up to what they consider to be the standard for a sannyasi. What standard is that? Aindra rejoined. Less renunciation? Less bhajan? Should I make myself so busy flying here and there for, quote, preaching that I have no time to chant Hare Krishna or read Prabhupada's books? It's not like that. What's the use of sannyas anyway? It's kid stuff. I should aim for something higher. I should get beyond all these varnashram's titles and positions and aim for the Paramahamsa level. They rejected me. That's fine. I know what I'm going to do. Without advertising it, Aindra dedicated himself to a life of renunciation and full surrender to devotional service and took a vow of kshetra sannyas, to live as a renunciate within the confines of the holy Dham, to never leave Vrindavan or his kirtan service in Krishna Balaram Mandir, which, he understood from Srila Prabhupada, contained the entire spiritual world. Quote, I will not go to another place where I will not be able to hear the sound of the peacocks crying, he stated. Anyway, what else would I do? What other more important things? Here in my room with my deities, this is Braj. The worst day in Vrindavan, he said, is better than the best day anywhere else. In the following years, whenever he did leave Braj, to Delhi, for instance, to produce cassettes, to lead kirtan, and later to publish his book, he always made sure to return the same day, no matter what time it was, never spending the night outside the Dham. Mayapur, considered non-different from Vrindavan, was the only exception. He changed his dress, eschewing kurtas for, at first, a simple saffron-colored cloth tied behind his neck. Some devotees objected that in ISKCON only sannyasis dressed like that and lodged formal complaints with the temple president. But Aindra countered that many devotees, not just sannyasis, had worn that kind of top piece in Srila Prabhupada's presence, and also that ISKCON sannyas attire included a lower garment with no back pleat separating the legs. Look, he said, showing off a small dhoti hidden beneath his top cloth, here are my pleats. I'm wearing my tail like a good monkey. Still, he replaced the saffron top piece with a simple jute cloth that tied behind the neck, crossed over his chest, and extended a little below the knee. For a while he wore only the top piece, but when devotees again complained, he added a short dhoti to cover his legs. Over time, the color of the jute faded, and again some devotees were critical or confused, wondering if Aindra had changed ashrams, gone from saffron to white. Did he intend to marry? Some recognized what he wore as a Babaji outfit. Some were disturbed by the whole affair, and again demanded that Kadambakanana, who, still a Grihasta, was serving as temple president, intervene, quote, to determine for certain what ashram Aindra is in. When Kadambakanana asked about this, Aindra combined the names of all 4 ashrams. I'm a Brahmasta Vanayasi. Don't worry about Aindra, Kadambakanana told the local GBC. Leave him to me. Endeavoring for deeper internal realization, Ayendra continued his intense chanting of the holy name in kirtan and japa. He also consulted senior ISKCON devotees, but as one sannyasi pointed out years later, what people know today when they first walk in the door of a temple, people at that time didn't know, even if they were very senior. Practically no one knew what a manjari was. Even the term was not there. Ayendra, though, was really intense about understanding his eternal relationship with Krishna. Seeking further insight, he tried consulting senior Vaishnavas from outside ISKCON. He was criticized for this from both sides, by some for going outside for his research, though he never sought the shelter of outside teachers or wavered in his allegiance to ISKCON or exclusive loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, by others for not staying with the teachers longer. When he inquired about Siddha Pranali from Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who was attracting some of the most senior ISKCON devotees in Vrindavan, Maharaj replied that he could reveal the desired information, but that Ayendra would first have to accept his shelter. I refused him, Ayendra later told a few of his closest associates. He had questioned the information that Maharaj was conveying and recognized that it sometimes differed from both Srila Prabhupada's teachings and from what he felt in his heart. I said that I already had a spiritual master, and, happy with his own guru's guidance, he never went back. They just don't understand, Ayendra said. We're just trying to follow Srila Prabhupada as deeply as we can. And the more deeply he immersed himself in serving the deities, chanting, reading, and meditating on Shastra, the more appreciative of and grateful for Srila Prabhupada's grace he became, and the more he dedicated himself to propagating Prabhupada's mission. In fact, loyalty to both Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON was a foundational principle for Ayendra and one of his main preaching points. Quote, Srila Prabhupada told me that many people will leave this society, he told one disenchanted senior devotee, but please don't. When Krishna shows you his beautiful transcendental form, he said, when he gives you a spurti, a vision of his unlimited beauty, then you will never ever think of leaving this Krishna consciousness movement, and you will never ever think to allow yourself to be distracted by any superfluous goals. If you ever saw Krishna, you would definitely understand the power of this ISKCON movement. I understood that, by Krishna's grace, more than 35 years ago, and because of it, my heart has become solid, like lines on a stone. I will never ever give up the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and never ever give up the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada saved me, he later told a young brahmachari. He nourished me from the beginning and can still appear to me and reveal things. Everything will come to me by his grace. Further, he said in his room one night, he is not just a monolithic authority figure in our lives. He is our best friend. And one didn't have to go outside for advanced spiritual knowledge. This ISKCON movement is complete, he'd proclaimed in his 1987 Vyasa Puja offering, tears flowing from his eyes as he spoke. Everything is here, if you want it. If you want to have complete perfection, you can have it, because Srila Prabhupada will give you all perfection. From him, everything is coming. It was the purport of both his experience and the dreams he'd had of Srila Prabhupada that there was no need to go to other gurus for advanced spiritual instruction or information. Everything is available in Srila Prabhupada's society. We should never neglect this point, he'd continued. We should never misunderstand under some illusion and bewilderment that we don't have all the facilities for complete perfection at the feet of Srila Prabhupada in this ISKCON movement. Individuality was needed as well, he'd said. Everyone has to fly his own plane. But that too put responsibility on the individual, not that one should blame Srila Prabhupada's movement, quote, pass the buck of responsibility to the rest of the society, and to individually do it together, we require good association. Srila Prabhupada said it, and I will repeat it, he told a devotee who was having doubts about ISKCON when things in the devotees' world were, quote, getting weird in Delhi. Quote, you cannot blame anyone else for your lack of Krishna consciousness. A leading preacher who counseled hundreds of devotees and had left to take shelter of a Babaji at Radha Kund, and the devotee, one of the biggest book distributors in one of the movement's biggest book distribution centers, was thinking of joining him. Quote, there's ample facility in ISKCON for you to be totally absorbed in bhajan, Ayendra advised. Ample facility, all kinds of books to read, all kinds of time to chant as much japa as you want. Try chanting minimum of 58 rounds. That means focusing, concentration, yoga, bhakti yoga devoted to the chanting of the holy name, which is the only viable process for attaining self-realization, which begins with Nam. Self-realization begins with chanting the holy name. Have you read all of Srila Prabhupada's books? If not, no wonder you are having problems. You cannot blame anyone else but yourself. Why are you shifting the blame to other people? I don't want to hear how everything is, quote, weird in Delhi. Everything may be weird in Delhi, but whether it is weird or not weird is not an excuse for anyone not making advancement in Krishna consciousness. The whole material world is weird. Probably a lot of the reason why it's weird is because they're having to deal with you, who are weird too on one level or another. As you relate to the world, that's how the world is going to respond to you. That's practically an axiomatic truth. If you are more Krishna conscious, the world will respond to you in a way that will facilitate more Krishna consciousness. Answering a question about devotees who had left ISKCON, he said, that's their business. If they're satisfied with what they've done, they have the prerogative to do like that. Every living entity has free will. Nobody can bind anyone. Association and relationship are totally voluntary. No one can force anyone to love someone. The results, the fruit of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the attainment of the realm of Brajadam. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, and all the Shaktis are present, all of them. The holy name can reveal every aspect of itself, every aspect of its Shakti, just by you chanting Hare Krishna, according to your sincerity. When the devotee said that book distribution seemed to be the only thing that pleased Srila Prabhupada, which, even as a book distributor, he questioned, Ayendra told him the story of when Prabhupada had been in the Atlanta temple, which had gained his visit by winning a Christmas book marathon. All their big book distributors had been there, and the temple president had asked, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? It was a loaded question, Ayendra related. He was expecting Prabhupada to say, what will please me the most is if everyone distributes my books, and everyone would go wild. Ra, Jai, we won the marathon. They wanted to feed their egoism. But you know what Srila Prabhupada answered? He paused for a minute and said, what will please me the most is if you learn to love Krishna. That's the Srila Prabhupada I love. Now, if you love Krishna, you can express your love for Krishna by distributing books. You can express your love for Krishna by worshiping the deity. You can express your love for Krishna by cooking for Krishna. You can express your love for Krishna by painting for Krishna. You can express your love for Krishna by going out on Harinam Sankirtan, performing the Yuga Dharma. You can express your love by chanting Hare Krishna. Book distribution is an important service, But even more important is learning to love Krishna. If you learn to love Krishna, your book distribution will be realized. If you learn to love Krishna, your japa will be realized. Your sankirtan will be realized. It will help every aspect of your devotional life. In the end, the devotee was both moved and convinced by Aindra's response. After the meeting, he said, "I know only one Baba in Vrindavan, and that is Aindra Baba." And he remained in ISKCON. The situation was not unusual. Quote, "I had friends who left ISKCON gurus and took initiation at Radha Kund," another devotee remembered. "But Aindra preached to me. He made me more confident to stay in ISKCON, and that's not a small thing." Aindra fixed his attention on his chanting, deity worship, and study of Shastra, his absorption in which strengthened and informed his preaching. He remained focused on Srila Prabhupada's books and repeatedly insisted that devotees should thoroughly and systematically read all of them, as he had done, before continuing on to those by other Vaishnavacharyas or outside authors.